Well, hello. Yeah, I guess that time of week again, isn't it? Okay, well, I've got a whole lot I got a whole lot on the docket and I got a whole lot in store. And I got a whole pile of stuff in front of me. I wanted to start things off. That'll be this week with a not so deep cut. So, what I'm going for is Spinal Tap. This is Spinal Tap. And don't it feel good? Well, probably not. 1983, Rob Reiner directed. You know, Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, Harry Shearer. Yeah, the original baby, except no substitutes. This, this, in my opinion, is probably one of the greatest comedies of the 80s, with the exception of maybe I don't know, Repo Man and what was the other one? I know there's one more. Um, Repo Man and Heathers, maybe. Uh, there were a lot of kind of nice little dark comedies in there, but these are the three movies. That's one I want to talk about today, and in a lot of ways, I think I'm kind of rounding out the trifecta there. Whoa, I don't. If you haven't seen it, you need to. That's all I can say. If you were a fan of hard rock around that time, it'll hit home. If you're a fan of bands, particularly in this stage, kind of like the band that McKean and Shearer and Guest are playing, that particular band, this particular fictional band. Uh, if you're a fan of bands kind of like the ilk of that, kind of maybe bands that popped up in the 60s and got going and were big in the 70s and then kind of found themselves a little washed up in the 80s, this will probably kind of hit home with you. There's some good, fun stuff. I just love this movie. I went to see it and I was a fan of all those bands. I was a fan of the up and coming metal scene at that time, and and it was just the movie for me. I got a big old kick out of it, and this particular, oh man, it's got everything and everything's good. I mean, everything. If you're watching, I don't know, let's say, I don't know, whoever was wearing funny spandex pants at that time, they probably found themselves skewered and lampooned in there, either a stage effect going wrong, or I don't know, trying to get through the airport, metal detector with a cucumber wrapped up in tinfoil in their pocket, anything like that. Just that wound up in the movie, and just everything wrapped around it. Just just the ludicrousness and the overblownness and the pomposity and the lack of self-awareness. Man, okay, if you were following Kiss around that time, and that would have been like Creatures of the Night era. I mean, it was everything in there. It's just like you'd hear the interviewer talking to them, and yeah, you don't seem to be drawing the same crowds that you did back in your heyday. Do you know what's up with that? Oh, our audience is just becoming more selective. Like, yeah, but and it plays out beautifully in the movie. And just when the characters are in the hotel and they hear this old, you know one-off hit they had in this kind of mid-60s kind of proto-psych tune that they had for a hit back in the mid-60s or something, playing on the oldie station, and they say, well, that's Spinal Tap. They're currently residing in the Where Are They Now category. And it's like, and you just see just the glee on all their faces just kind of fall. Just, yeah, I've seen that. And at the same time, it's like, oh, that's kind of awful, isn't it? But, it's funny. And the thing about this movie, and it's the rare comedy that gives this to you, is if you don't maybe find it quite as funny as, like, I think you should the first time, or if you hear rave reviews of it and then you walk away and say, well, it's pretty funny, but, it wasn't that great, catch repeat views on it, because it's the movie, it's the gift that keeps on giving, because there are so many damn jokes flying at you that if you don't catch one the first time, you'll catch it the 5th time. You'll catch it the 10th time. It just more and more, and it's like peeling an artichoke, and the humor is just that dense, and there's just that much of it. Just all the gigs, all the famous jokes. The amps go up to 11. Just, well, why don't you just make 10 louder? These go to 11, and just all the jokes like that. The tiny little Stonehenge model that it's just basically the band freak out over these errors in judgment that are really all their fault, and blame pretty much everyone else, but and they seek all the worst remedies for it. But the cast is tremendous. McKean, of course, we recognize, people my age recognize him because he played Lenny of Lenny and Squiggy on Laverne and Shirley show. But Harry Shearer, Man of a Thousand Faces, just kind of disappears into his role. You might not get great laughs from Derek Smalls to begin with, but the thing about him is the way Harry plays him is beautiful, because and this is most of Harry's humor, is he just very low key and very deadpan and very dry, and I'm kind of a big fan of that dry, subtle humor. And of course, Christopher Guest, who I think, had a big hand in the writing and the form, he is so great. Nigel, the lead guitarist, writing his, playing a piano, writing his, his symphony, which is kind of a Bach and a Mahler, and it's kind of a mock piece, and he calls it "Lick My Love Pump," or he's having a nervous breakdown over the various items on the deli tray. I mean, he's fantastic. And Tony Hendra as the put upon manager. I mean, this guy worked with National Lampoon for years. He did great stuff. There are just people oozing out of the cracks that were in this thing. I mean, it was, rife with crazy cameos, Bruno Kirby, Billy Crystal, a young Dana Carvey, Zane Busby, who, you might especially remember if you remember from Cheech and Chong's Up in Smoke, and a great role in that. And, I didn't know your name was Alex. Man, so many. Archie Hahn. Yeah, Mondo Heather especially wanted me to mention Archie Hahn. So many. Paul Benedict. Most people will remember Paul Benedict as playing, I think, Mr. Bentley. He's a classically trained actor. He played Mr. Bentley on The Jeffersons, and he was kind of a funny foil for George Jefferson. Sherman Hemsley. I remember him best, when I was a little kid and he painted numbers on Sesame Street. But yeah, he did a ton of stuff over his career. Just a lot of people, you get, they had the kind of confrontational meeting with the wanker, played by Paul Shortino, who was the lead singer for Rough Cut, who were a kind of one of those quasi up and coming metal bands at that time. They were kind of making a lot of mention for about 5 minutes. Just now residing at the Where Are They Now file. Yeah, Paul, I think, is no longer with us, so maybe a joke in poor taste. Fred fucking Willard. Fred Willard, who is brilliant in everything, playing the liaison at the military base. If you ever get down to the Ramada Inn down there, see a bunch of friends of mine, Four Jackson and Jill, they put on a good show. Speaking of masters of dry humor. And I love everything that guy does. I love everything he was in. It's just a feast. It's a feast that, it just, subsequent viewings get better. If you see the, just any kind of supplemental stuff on that, you've got videos that they did for songs like Hellhole. They went and did a concert. I think they put out an album, 10 years later, called Break Like the Wind, and they played a concert at the Royal Albert Hall, and it's fun. They have kind of the alternate problem with the Stonehenge model. Instead of it being way too small, it's way too big. And you kind of got to laugh. Have I seen the sequel that just came out, with the passing of Rob Reiner? No, I haven't. I have not been exactly hot to see it, to be honest with you. Something about it, just looking at the trailer, it's like, oh, yeah, it's these jokes again. And boy, they all seem kind of tepid this time around. And, man, I don't know if this really needs a retread. Maybe you guys can convince me down in the comments if that's not the case, if it's worth seeing. Let me know. Yeah, hit me down in the comments. Yeah, if you like the video, hit like. Helps me out with the algorithm. Yeah, y'all know that shit. Hit that little bell if you want notifications. I try to get a video up once a week. Try to get one of these movie review videos up once a week, and you might check those out. You might get that little bell so that way when I put them up, you'll know they're up. And check us out also. Check us out on Henry Covert's Deep Images podcast. I kind of appear on that on the reg, and I highly recommend, particularly my esteemed colleagues, you need to check them out. But anyway, I hope y'all enjoyed that, and I hope y'all enjoy that movie, Spinal Tap. Yeah, this is Spinal Tap. Check it out, man.